Good evening, Hog fans, and welcome you to finally a good night to be a Hog fan. We come up with a huge comeback victory over Georgia tonight at home just now, about 15 to 20 minutes ago. What is your live reaction to that crazy comeback win?
Dude, I mean, this was, I want to say this was a great game, but it was not. It was good to get a win, great to get a win. Um, but man, this game was ugly to watch from the start. Even the comeback was not the pretty way, right? It wasn't like, oh, we got hot from three and suddenly, it's a 10-point game, 7-point game, 4-point game, 1-point game. Wow, because we got hot from three. Or like, oh, we're getting steals and getting out into transition and getting a layup and another steal and a layup. That's the pretty way. This was like, all right, grind it out, miss a shot, get a rebound, miss again, get another rebound, miss a third time on the same possession, and then get fouled, and then go to the free throw line and make two free throws. That was our playbook. I mean, in the second half, I don't have the final stats in front of me, but I think we shot 26 or 28 free throws. I think it was 26 free throws in the second half. Um, I mean, that was our key, right? Not only does that slow the game down, which for a team like us that can't score in a flurry, having the clock consistently stop actually works really well in our favor, right? Because when you're making two free throws, and then the ball's going out of bounds, that's an extra, 10 seconds per possession that you're getting back, where the ball's not, bouncing around out of bounds and they're running around, passing, right? So you do that, 20 possessions, you get 2 or 3 minutes of playtime back, which we need. We needed every possession that we could get from this game. Um, and then the other good part about that, obviously, is then it puts Georgia in foul trouble, and they ended up having to sit Kane. Not only them fouling out, but them having to kind of sit on the bench, come off the bench, sit on the bench, come off the bench, kind of keeping them in check. So Kane, who's their leading scorer throughout the year, he ended up not being able to play the final 3 minutes. I feel like that guy for sure could have hit like a clutch three-pointer if he had been in
Oh,
there, and there's no way we could have matched even a single three-pointer from him.
shoot.
Um, but so he was out, and then obviously, Newell, fouled out on the last possession. That didn't necessarily matter, but great. I mean, great toughness, grit. They fought. You could see that moment where like they started to actually go like, wait, hold on, maybe we can actually catch up here. Maybe we can actually win. I think it was after the Carter Knox, he had a few possessions in a row where he like went in for an offensive rebound and drew a foul and got to the free throw line. And I think it was after, maybe his second or third time doing that, he makes both free throws, the ones that bounced around the rim, a lot. Makes both of those, and suddenly it's like it's a 5-point game. It's either 5 or 4 at that point. And then it was like, with like 7 minutes left, 8 minutes, a lot of time. And suddenly that was that moment, I think, where the guy's like, wait, is this what momentum feels like? Like we're on like we were down 15 just like 6 or 7 game minutes ago, and now we're only down five. And then the next possession was where like Thero like dove on the ground and passed it to Knox, and Knox went and drew another foul and got to the free throw line. And so it just like turn the tide, and you could see in those final like 5 minutes that it was like actual belief, actual, it wasn't just like frantic energy. It was actually like focused energy of like, no, like let's put our energy towards the right things to get this win. And that was encouraging to see, and something I hope, that we carry on.
Going going off that, you talked about how it was an ugly win and all the positives from that. If I told you before we played tonight that John L. Davis shot 3 for 14 and 1 for 10 from three, DJ Wagner shot 3 for 14 from the field, and we shot 31% compared to their 43% from the field. What would you think? You definitely wouldn't think we would win for sure. I know I wouldn't.
Those are not Those are not winning numbers.
We shot
Uh,
13% from the 3-point line. 13. 3 for
bro,
23. That's terrible. And
it's
we still
so
won.
bad.
That is the good thing about tonight is we shot terrible. Like you said, ugly, ugly, ugly. But it came down to our hustle. We just wanted
Yeah,
it more tonight. We finally showed a game like you hinted at. We felt momentum. There was a
yeah,
crowd into the game. We had our own positive momentum and we just hustled. We finally looked like, hey, we actually want to win an SEC game.
yeah, yeah. That there was there was a shift in body language. Um,
Yes,
now I will say, obviously we're high right now because we got the win on a
finally won.
miraculous,
Yeah.
last second, Thero, which props to Thero all season. I will say he has never shown quit. Like Thero is like his body language is always like, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna do whatever I can, Now it's
Mhm.
obviously not enough and he's limited in terms of his skill set, especially offensively. He's kind of just a like physical guy, try to get to the rim. But he does what he can. He's always had like just that like I will not quit thing. And that's awesome. And that's like, what we need. I think, we started to see that a little bit from other guys like we talked about, but let's not forget how crap the first 25 minutes of that game were. Like that first half, there was no grit. There was no fight. I mean, guys were just missing and just man, going down the court, like just settling for just really bad shots. There was like hardly any offensive rebounding. There was a lot of just sloppy turnovers. In the first half, Georgia had 10, I think it was 10 points off of five of our turnovers, just like the 3-point shooting, like we were 0 for 10 in the first half, and then we hit one in the final seconds with Z, which gave us some spark, which was good. But man, like the grit of the last 8 minutes of that game does not cover a multitude of sins of like, it's not like, hey, we're back, like this is still a team that has a lot of figuring out to do, right? Like you said, when our two top scoring options are shooting 3 of 14, you know, like 20, that's 20% from the field when they're both clanging every single 3-pointer that they take. 1 of 10, 1 of 10 from
One
Nelly
of
for
10.
three. 0 of 3 from Wagner. At least Wagner, after the third miss, had enough sense to know, like, maybe I take it to the basket and draw some fouls. Um, but like there's still a lot of work to be done. And Coach Cal said it at the end of the game in the post game interview. He was like, "We might not be that team that looks pretty." He said people want to see us play a certain style of ball. I think what he was referring to was, like fast pace,
Yeah.
like lots of shooting, lots of scoring. People want to see that. And he was like, that's probably just not how we're going to win games. We're going to win games with gritty determination, ugly wins. And I mean, I'll take it if we can keep that up, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you covered it all. We like this was not a good game at all for us. Shooting wise, we didn't shoot well. Defensively, we really, I mean, I texted you mid-game. I said we can't guard anybody. Like you said, that first half was pitiful in all aspects. But the difference is, to be positive, is that we didn't give up. The past couple games we've talked about it on this podcast. We just didn't have any grit, like you said. No fight, just give up besides Zero. And he had 17 and 11 tonight. He played great. And we haven't even talked about Adu. I texted you mid game. He is getting rebounds, but he can't finish.
Yeah, I'm
I don't know
I'm
what his
curious
problem
if
is.
if he was like ill tonight and we just didn't know about it, or if he has like a minor injury or something, because he
Yeah.
only played 18 minutes. on only two fouls. So it's not like he was in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Um, 18 minutes. I mean, that's really low for Adu. And yeah, he had like some struggle, but like I wouldn't say that like he was making mistakes. You know what I mean?
No,
Like Adu was
I
kind
don't
of
think he
like,
was either.
yeah, he just like wasn't like being awesome, but then it's like neither is Z and neither is Brazil, like so that was really interesting. I'm surprised Adu wasn't at least at like
25.
closer to like 23, 24, 25 minutes. Um, but maybe he just wasn't showing a level of toughness that coach needed. Maybe he felt like Z's ability to at least be like a little bit of a 3-point threat. Maybe coach felt like that would open up the lanes,
Yeah.
which would allow our guys to drive in and draw fouls. Because it's true, the lanes were pretty open, and that's what led to us just racking up the fouls. Was Knox driving to the hole, having space to drive to the hole, and then getting fouled at the rim. Thero, getting in close to the basket, drawing fouls. DJ Wagner had a couple. Um, so maybe that was kind of the thinking there was like spread the court, not to have an additional 3-point threat
Yeah.
necessarily, but to have room in the lane for these fouls to get drawn. That which it's actually a good
I
strategy
would
for them
agree
to
spacing. I
purpose.
mean, yeah, Adu, isn't a shooter, so he clogs up the paint. And tonight, I mean, we saw we can't shoot. I mean, we know that, but we couldn't shoot tonight. So you get him out, get our floor spacer, and Z is slowly getting more and more better. And I say slowly is the key word because it's not like he's going off. He did the other night, but tonight he had a decent night. He made that one hook shot. I don't know how, but he's looking better. And Brazil is Brazil. I mean, he just rebounds and hustles.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know. Adu is a curious case, but I think he's slowly getting more into it. And we talked about, with the big news yesterday, Boogie's out for the rest of the year. How is that going to change the landscape of the team? What's it going to look like? And we kind of saw glimpses of it tonight. We're just going to be a driving, like you said, gritty team that now we've seen we can win ugly. We were 0-5 coming into tonight, and we're like, what is it going to take for us to win? We've been falling behind. I mean, we got ahead a couple of games, but like in the first 4 minutes, we
Yeah.
just couldn't make that run. Me and you've talked about it on here before. We just couldn't make that run to tie it or to even get it. What do you say? Five is the Grand Canyon. Is that we?
Yeah.
It's just like we've talked about. We can cut it to 8, and then they would always get it up to 15. Florida got it up to 15. We just couldn't ever, and we finally did it tonight. And now we've seen, we know what it takes to win, even when we're not playing our best. And
Yeah.
we might need that Saturday because Oklahoma's just as good as Georgia. They were
Yeah.
just ranked a week or two ago too. So
Yeah.
hopefully we pack Bud, and that would be a huge week if we could win. We won tonight and win that one too.
Yeah.
Huge
Yeah,
momentum.
getting the OU win, back-to-back wins, you know, eh, man, getting those back-to-back wins will be great. And it'll just make the LSU loss feel that much more painful. The difference of 3-4 versus 2-5, and one of because when you look at our schedule, right, it's not getting easier. Like at LSU, even though it's an away game, is actually one of our top four easiest games on the year.
Yeah.
You South Carolina obviously will be easier. That's maybe about it. Well, I guess don't we have LSU at home? I think we have LSU again at Bud Walton, so that obviously is there. But anyway, this isn't the time to be talking about the LSU game. Um, I'm still just that's the one game that's like that was
It
ours.
hurts. Yeah.
Like it was in our grasp. We were up 14 in the second half, 13 in the second half. Like anyway. But hey, tonight Georgia was up 15 in the second half, and we said this is what you do when you're at home. So we pulled on Georgia what LSU pulled on us and beat a team that by all intents and purposes is a better team than us right now. But we had the home court advantage. Our fans, man, like Even though there wasn't a big crowd, I will say the crowd was like just like ready to give them something to cheer about, you
Right.
know? And we tried to reward some hustle plays. I remember there was that play kind of earlier in the second half where Carter Knox on one end turned it over, I think, but then he like ran and sprinted down to the other end and kind of like got a steal and it ended up going out of bounds. But like people were like, yeah, like, hey, like there's something, there's some energy, there's some effort. And speaking of him, I want to give him a huge shout out for tonight. Carter Knox's energy was
Yes.
like the spark for us,
He's a
man.
game
Like
changer for sure.
he was a game changer. Look at his stat line. So he had 13 points on the night. How many shots do you think he made with 13 points?
I'm not looking at the stats. I'm gonna go up just watch probably four. He shot a
He
ton.
made one shot, one
That's
field goal.
crazy.
He had 11 free throws that he made out of 13 taken.
That's awesome. That is
Yes.
awesome.
That is insane. Taking 13 free throws. Everyone else, Thero got to take 9 free throws, which is also pretty strong. Everyone else on the team, two, 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 two. Literally every single player on the team took 2 free throws, which means they're getting to the line one time on a, foul on a shot. And that, but Knox is just pounding the boards, pounding the lane, like getting to the line 13 or not to the line 13, but taking 13 free throws, getting to the line, probably that's like 7 or 8 times. Just
I mean,
effort.
we had 10 more offensive rebounds than them tonight. We won the rebound battle 40-30, mainly because of his hustle, like you're talking about. Him and Thero both are just offensive rebound monsters. And then we shot
Yeah.
29 for 34 as a team from the free throw line.
That is,
85%. That is insanely good.
dude, in a game won by 3, right?
And we shot 13% from three.
And
Free
we shot
throws
13%
were
from 3.
free throws were huge, 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 huge. And we said it,
Huge.
make free throws. And we
Yeah.
finally did. They
Dude,
finally listened.
and on the other side, Georgia, they got to the free throw line
Yeah,
almost as many times as we did. Like we got to it 34, they took 29. So they were only 5 free throws short, but they missed 9. So they missed almost twice as many as we missed. If
that's
they
slim
just
margin.
make 3 more of those, get if they're shooting at 80% and we're shooting at 80%, they win the game, right? They make 2 more, we miss 2 more. Um, yeah,
It's just
it's
little things like that that you don't even think about until after the game. You're like, that is crazy. Like they talked about during the broadcast, Big Z's three at the end of the first half. We
yeah,
won by three. Him not hitting that, we're going to OT. You
yeah.
just don't even realize.
And the momentum that gave, like that, him hitting
Yes,
that three was basically the difference of being down 15 or being down 12. And mentally, and I know Georgia ended up coming out and getting up 15, but at half, it's like, okay, 12, that feels
yeah.
that feels surmountable. 15 feels like, ooh, okay, like that's a lot of possessions. So yeah, we needed it. We just needed to see that we could make one. Unfortunately, it didn't really make any difference because in the second half we were 2 for
No.
13. So it's not like we suddenly like saw one go down
That
and
one where he was wide open, it was a tie game, 6-3, 6. I think
oh,
maybe a little over a minute left. He is wide open and shoots it
whoa,
short. And that's the best shot you're going to have all season. The most open you're ever going to
seriously.
be. And take the
Dude,
lead.
we just have to get over that. I was watching the Florida, who did Florida play tonight right before this?
They South
South
Carolina.
Carolina. Florida, South Carolina. South Carolina, bottom dweller right there with Arkansas, 0-5 in league coming into tonight. Playing at home against a good but not world-shattering Florida team. And they had them on the ropes. I mean, South Carolina was up by 13, 14 with 7 minutes left, kept turning the ball over. But I noticed Florida, when they had the open three-point looks, they nailed them. They knocked them down. Every single one. There was about 4 of them. in the final like 8 minutes of that game that were like, yep, swish, swish. And it's just like that's what separates the good
Even
teams
the
from the bad teams.
yeah,
That's what separates the Floridas from the South Carolinas,
us from them.
Arkansas from the Ole Misses is like we get looks. We have opportunities and we don't knock them down. The wide open ones you have to knock down at like 80% or
Yeah.
90%, which makes up for the contested ones that drags you down to a 40% average or 30%. But like, I mean, we're shooting 13%. 13. Nelly had three wide open ones. He had a few that were tough, a few that can't blame him for missing. I think two or three of those were in the final seconds of the shot clock. So give him credit for that. But maybe like seven of his 10 3-pointers, were in game play. And
Yeah.
of those seven, like he should have made for sure two more. If not, there was a third one that was like pretty makeable as well.
If he's gonna take 10, we need him to make at least three. That's and 30% is not great, but we'll take it. We don't want
Yeah.
him shooting 10 threes with how he's been shooting. Every team from now on is going to play us in a zone like Georgia did at the end, and I don't blame them. I would too. Why in the
Yeah.
world would you play us man with all of our athletes when we can't shoot to save our lives?
Seriously.
And who
Yeah.
who are they going to fear? Who? I mean, let John L shoot. Wagner's, hot or cold, and then Big Z is no.
Big
Thero
Z,
can't really shoot, and
powerful. Like, yeah,
they leave Carter Knox open, and he's developing it, but he's still not even close.
bro, Knox is trash from 3-point, man. He's bad. Like, let me see if I can pull up his season stats on three. Um, so Knox is Knox
That's
is 27% from three.
better than Thero, 21. So let's take that.
But on the number of attempts,
Oh, that might need to.
Knox has put up 54 attempts. Thero has put up 28.
Well,
So at least Thero recognized like, yeah, the 3-point is not my thing. Knox, I still don't think quite has figured that out.
well,
He's
yeah.
he's third on the team in attempts. No, okay, actually fourth. So Boogie at 96, uh, Nelly at 71 attempts, and then Wagner at 67, and then Knox 54.
With how bad Nelly has been shooting, which everybody knows about, he's still shooting 35% from three, which surprises me.
Yeah, I mean, he again, we probably should be looking at stats that separate league play from non-con play.
Um,
Because in non-conference, yeah, he had a couple games where yeah, just was super efficient. Maybe didn't score a ton, but was super efficient. But
yeah.
since SEC play, it's been a different
Let
story.
me add it up. I got the games. Let's see. 0 for 4, 3 for 7, 3 for 11, 3 for 16, 5 for 19, 6 for 22, plus tonight, 7 for 32 in conference from three. That is 21%.
21.
You want to round up 22. Yeah, so
I mean, guys that shoot 21% are considered like power forwards and
very poor
like
shooters, not
centers
good
and like
shooters.
yeah, like like 21 isn't like yeah, that's like a rough stat. That's like you don't shoot the threes. Like coach says you're not allowed to shoot threes. Um,
DJ's not shooting much better though. I mean, he's
no, he's not.
1 for 10, 2 for 14, 4 for 17, 4 for 21, 4 for 24 after tonight.
4 for
So
24. That's one out of six.
16%. So like we just talked about, who's going to shoot for us? And I mean, we're not a shooting team. Everybody knows that. but we have to be able to make threes. Like, who is going to step up?
Yeah.
We
When
have to
our
be capable.
primary 3-point threats
Big
combined
Z,
are
Big Z.
18%. It's
Yeah,
bad. Well, and two, like as a team, there is something to seeing the ball go through the net, right? Like even if it's not you, just seeing your teammate make one, right? There's just that feeling of like, oh, we got this, like, oh, we're having a good night. Oh, we can make this. So when your Wagners and your Nellies can't break the team out of a funk, it trickles down. It trickles down to a Knox and a Big Z and, who else would even shoot? I don't think Billy Richmond has like tried
he
a
hasn't
three.
attempted one. He's 0%. So I don't know if he's attempted one.
Let's see, Billy Richmond on the year, he has attempted three 3-pointers.
He didn't even play that much tonight, did he? I didn't see him a ton tonight.
Let me get your thoughts on something. So, coach chose not to put Nelly at the point when DJ was on the bench. He was running Billy Richmond as the point guard when DJ was on the bench. I don't love that. Like, I just feel like Billy is not super secure with the ball. We saw multiple times where he was dribbling down the court full speed and kind of got ahead of the ball or got behind the ball or threw it away or, just kind of was a little bit wily. He's a little bit gangly, it feels like, still kind of getting his dribbling under him. He dribbles pretty tall as well versus like DJ and even Boogie. You see him kind of like hunching over more. So there's less airspace for the ball to travel, prevents steals, prevents pokeaways, things like that. I feel like I would trust Nelly with the ball more, maybe, but maybe Nelly's playing with so much timidity lately. He's so timid that like maybe that feels like not a good option because he might just like pick his dribble up and then get
Yeah.
stuck and throw it away. Like, I don't know.
I think his thought was, Billy, can get out of control, but he can get to the basket usually and drive and kick. So just have that facilitator. He's still learning, like you said. He's learning how to be under control. And I don't know if the game plan was for Nelly to shoot threes because he shot 10 of them. So maybe that's why for Billy to facilitate and kick it to him. But I agree
Yeah.
with you. I think Nelly, that's what he did at FAU. He had the ball in his hands a lot. So when DJ's not in, DJ needs to be the point guard. Let me say that. I mean, he did
Hmm.
fine. He did good job tonight of being point. But I don't
Yeah.
know about Billy either. That's iffy. Maybe he was just trying something out. I just looked. He had one turnover, but did it really was it effective? Is that? But speaking on
Yeah.
lineups, who are we gonna play? We have 8 guys.
Bro,
He like who? If anybody gets injured, we're done.
we're done. I mean, guys were
We can't play
already
7 in
feeling
SEC play.
gassed. Guys were already feeling a little bit gassed. Um,
I know we have 9 scholarship players, but can we not play like Melo Sanchez or any of those guys? I mean, I know they're walk-ons, but can they not play? We've had walk-ons in the previous 15 years play. Why can't they're bringing up
yeah,
every year on the broad or every game? They only got 9 guys that'll play tonight. Why can't the walk-ons play?
yeah. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I'm not familiar with what's his name, Chavis or
I'm not either.
Sanchez or these guys' game. Obviously, I've seen them like in the final minute of like our game against Maryland Eastern or something. But even then, even in the few games where we were blowing the other team out, Cal kept the 9 guys in until the final like 60 seconds. So we never even got to see these guys even get like scrub rotation minutes. I will say, like, I literally think Cal just was like, I'm just gonna grab 4 guys that like are just have no business being in the SEC,
Love
just to like make
practice.
it clear that like they're not gonna be getting playing time, And I know that the one guy is like 5 foot like 9,
Tony
like
Walker.
he's super short. I think it's Chivas maybe, or Chavis, Casimir Chavis. Like he's, you know, he's oh not sorry, not him. I haven't seen Casimir. Is it Watkins? Kareem Watkins. Yeah, Kareem Watkins, 5'8". He's come in a couple times. He's been the first one off the bench of those guys. And he's yeah, I mean he's super short out there. Um, I guess he's a senior. Um, Interesting. But even at his last few schools, he played 1 game, 9 games, 4 games, and 6 games. He averaged 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 minute. So wherever he even was,
Who was this?
uh, okay, I guess he was at the bottom of the bench at Kentucky
Oh
the
yeah,
last three
Kareem.
years.
Kareem was at Kentucky. He followed, but the other guys I don't know.
Yeah, Kareem Watkins was Kentucky. Anyway, that is curious though. Like, yeah, if he's a senior that's been with Cal for 4 years and he's a point and he's a guard,
Yeah,
like,
like six
is he
minutes.
not? Yeah, is he not capable of just coming in for relief for 4 or 5 minutes and
Yeah,
giving EJ a breather? Like, that is a little like, okay, coach, like, what's the deal?
uh,
But well, we'll see what happens against OU. OU is a beatable team.
yeah.
They're not any better than Georgia.
But
I would
that's
venture to say Georgia's better. OU was ranked a few weeks ago. They were undefeated in non-con, but their non-con schedule was super weak. Um, so I'm not too worried about what OU like the resume they're coming in with. I'll pull them up real quick.
if we could get to 2-5, but I mean it doesn't get easy next week. Who?
Yeah. So
Oh, God. Oof.
OU had a win against Arizona early on. They had a win against Louisville and Georgia Tech early on. So those were decent wins. But then coming into league, they lost by a lot to Alabama. They lost a close one to Texas A&M. They lost to Georgia by 10. They lost a fairly close one to Texas. And then they beat South Carolina. So I mean, they are in pretty much the exact same boat that we are, 1 win in league. And we'll see what they do with it. Wait, who are they playing? Did they not play midweek? Oh, okay, this week they took a midweek off. So
Yeah,
OU
that's
should
what
be,
we're doing next week. We got midweek off, then we play Kentucky on Saturday.
that's going to be
Yeah,
not
we're up,
fun.
I think.
It's at Rupp and it's not going to be fun, man. It's,
Our schedule after Oklahoma is brutal. It's Kentucky at Texas, Alabama at home. Brutal 3 game stretch. So we better win Saturday before we face a gauntlet, or else
yeah,
we're looking at 1-9 in conference.
yep.
Hey,
I
I'm
think
just glad.
I think Texas is pretty beatable.
I think so.
Um, Say what?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're beatable.
Yeah, Texas is definitely beatable. They're kind of right there with like Georgia. What I would call like the third tier of the SEC.
Yeah.
We're currently fourth tier, but a fourth tier can beat a third tier. So like first tier obviously is like Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, maybe Kentucky, right? And then second tier is like Ole Miss, Florida, Mississippi State, Mizzou, and A&M. And then third tier would be like Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, you know,
Mhm.
and probably bottom tier is Arkansas, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina, and LSU. So Texas is beatable. Um, and then we've got who else in there? We've got A&M, who is
Yeah,
depending on
they're
if they
the
have Wade
same.
Taylor
Yeah.
back or not, like they can be beatable. Auburn, that'll be a 30-point blowout.
Yeah.
Um, Mizzou again,
They're
we
beatable.
we can beat Mizzou. South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, right? So like up ahead, right? Kentucky, that's pretty much a for sure loss. Bama's pretty much a for sure loss. Auburn is pretty much a for sure loss. But other than that, like all of our other games are at least winnable. You know, like I took
There's a path to 8. If we could get to 8 conference wins, we got a chance to make the tourney. That's what everybody said. 8-12 or whatever it is. We're 12-7, 1-5. If we go 8-12 or 19 and what is it?
yeah,
19-14. That'll get us in the tournament with how good the SEC is. That's
yeah,
what we got to get to. And like you just said, there's some winnable games besides those couple of yeah.
yeah. There's 10, what I just went through is 10 winnable games, three unwinnable, what I would call like just
Three,
it's
John L.
it would
Davis
be a
has to
weird
drop 40
miracle.
games.
Say what?
But John L. Davis will have to drop 40 miracle games for us to win that. And that won't happen.
Yeah, yeah. But of the 10, yeah, if we can get eight, seven or eight of those 10,
We're in.
yeah. I mean, because those are all pretty much quad one. Those would all be quad one wins.
If we get to 20 wins, there's no way we miss the tournament. If we get to 20, we're in. There's no
Mhm.
way we miss. We got Michigan non-conf. We got 9 SEC wins in a stacked conference. There's no way.
Yeah.
We still have a chance. We saved our season somewhat tonight. Now there's a path. Will
There's a
we
path.
capitalize?
Can we do it without Boogie?
Yeah.
It's the
Will we
question.
capitalize on some momentum from tonight? It shall be seen.
Shall be seen.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate all you guys' support. Let us know what you guys think and go Hogs.
Yeah. Well, before we go, I just want to say to anyone out there that thinks that Boogie is like checking out, you're idiots. This is a real injury. If you were watching the Florida game closely, there was a timeout where like literally he fell on the ground and he got up holding his wrist, holding his hand. He goes to the bench for like 3 or 4 minutes, and when he comes back on the court, his hand is taped up, and his hand was taped up the next 2 games after that. It's a real injury. He literally just got surgery in New York. So shut up about saying, "Oh, he's pulling a Nick Smith," because Nick Smith came back too. Stop running off our best players by calling out their integrity when they're not being unintegrous. Just stop that crap now.
Yeah,
Sorry, just had to
I
get that off.
agree. Hey, I like it. Good way to
Yeah.
finish off the episode. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.